Is recognized.
Thank you. I rise in strong support of House Resolution 292, sponsored by our distinguished speaker. As the resolution states at the outset, the armed forces of the United States may only be used to defend and advance the national security interests of the United States, not to enforce, to quote the president, quote, the writ of the international community, end quote. Nor because of the United Nations, nor because of the Arab League. Yet these are what the president has repeatedly pointed to in justifying sending U.S. forces into action in Libya. But what he has not done is explain to the American people and to Congress how the situation in Libya, if allowed to spiral out of control, poses a threat to U.S. national security interests. It is an increasingly important region, Mr. Speaker, with implications stretching into other areas that are vital to our nation. Little, if any, details have been provided in response to repeated questions regarding U.S. goals, the cost of the operation, the scope of the operation, and other issues of direct relevance to our national security. It is an open question as to whether the administration simply won't tell us or whether they just don't know the answers. Members on both sides of the aisle are increasingly frustrated, and I share that frustration. Many question the importance of Libya to U.S. interests, and especially the need for military engagement. Many more are outright angry about the disregard with which the president and his administration have treated Congress on the Libya military engagement. But it is not surprising that there is a desire to simply say enough and to force the president to withdraw precipitously, regardless of the consequences. But I believe that we would only make a difficult situation worse by taking such drastic action. The negative impact would be widespread, Mr. Speaker. The news that the U.S. House of Representatives had mandated a withdrawal of U.S. forces would send a ray of sunshine into the hole in which Gaddafi is currently hiding. It would ensure his hold on power. It would be seen not only in Libya, but throughout the Middle East and North Africa as open.
We shall suspend. The House is not in order. Out of respect for the gentlelady, please take your sidebar discussions outside the House chamber. Gentlelady may resume.
I thank the Speaker. It would be seen not only in Libya, but throughout the Middle East and North Africa as open season to threaten U.S. interests and destabilize our allies. Pulling out of the NATO operation would also undermine our NATO partners, who, after years of prodding by us, have finally begun to take more responsibility for ensuring security and stability in the region. How could we then argue that they must maintain their commitment to our allied efforts in Afghanistan when we have just pulled the rug out from under them in Libya? We must not let our frustration with the president's contempt for Congress cloud our judgment and result in our taking action that would harm our standing, our credibility, and our interest in the region. But clearly, we must speak out. This resolution offered by Speaker Boehner would send an unambiguous warning to the president that he must either change course in his dealings with Congress and the American people, or have the decisions regarding U.S. involvement in Libya taken out of his hands. It states a fundamental truth that I assume most in this chamber agree with, that U.S. forces must only be used to defend and advance the national security interests of the United States. It underscores that the president has not made a compelling case for U.S. military involvement based on U.S. interests, and it prohibits the deployment of U.S. ground forces in Libya so that mission creep would not gradually lead us into an ever-expanding conflict. It also requires the President to provide to Congress the information that we should have had at the outset, including, Mr. Speaker, what are the political and military objectives of the United States in Libya? How do we intend to achieve them? What specific commitments have we made to our NATO operations, and how might these impact our commitments in Afghanistan? And what is the anticipated scope, the duration, and the anticipated cost of continued U.S. military involvement in Libya? What is the relationship between opposition forces that are grouped under the Interim Transitional National Council and the Muslim Brotherhood, the Libyan Islamic Fighting Group, Al-Qaeda, Hezbollah, and other extremist groups? How well armed are these and other extremist groups, and how extensive are their activities in Libya? Who controls thousands of shoulder-fired anti-aircraft missiles and stocks of chemical weapons that Gaddafi has acquired? Finally, Mr. Speaker, this resolution bluntly states that the President has neither sought nor received authorization by the Congress for the continued involvement of the United States Armed Forces in Libya. If this clear warning doesn't get the attention at the White House, then more forceful action may be inevitable. The President can choose to act with the support of Congress and with the support of the American people, but he will not be allowed to proceed without it. I urge my colleagues to vote for this strong and necessary resolution. And with that,